Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
A warm welcome to you all. We are very happy that in spite of the cold weather, you all have come to listen to the wonderful talk that will be given by Sister Usha, who has come from Mount Abu, our headquarters, with all her warmth and love. Thank you, Sister Usha. Our topic today is sharing positive energy. It actually, I feel, takes a long time to become negative because you really have to work a lot, think a lot, and do these terrible things. But the easiest thing is a smile. It takes no time at all to smile, and one smile brings a million other smiles. And I would rather spend my energy smiling and building positive energy. Happiness actually is not ready-made. We all have to work with our efforts and our actions. Sister Usha, for the last few days, has spoken on several topics. She is, I hope you all are listening now, she is a walking encyclopedia. In whatever topic you want her to tell you something, she will tell you. You want to try her? Do try her. For those who are here for the first time, Sister Usha is based, as I told you, in Mount Abu, but travels a lot to many countries, talking again, particularly about self-management, time management, corporate management, and all these managements, and is invited wherever such courses are taken, and companies, giant companies like Birla's, Godrej, Amul Butter, they all invite her to come and give a few talks. So without much waiting, let me welcome Sister Usha to please come and give us a few words of wisdom. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Thank you very much, Meenuben, for the lovely introduction. All true. Today it's a pleasure for me to be with you all here and share on the subject of sharing positive energy. Very rightly, Meenuben has said that a smile spreads so much of positive energy. And one smile can just create so many smiles. But every time it is difficult to smile because the world is such. The world we live in, there are so many pressures that we are all going through. There are so many things that are coming up, so many situations, problems that we are all facing. And in that atmosphere, it's sometimes very difficult to smile. Even though we wish to smile, we want to be happy. But as she rightly said, that happiness is not something ever ready that we can get. Happiness, I feel, is a choice. It's my choice. What type of life I would like to lead. And the moment I decide and take the right choice, because challenges are there for everyone in the world. Very beautifully I read somewhere, challenges are there for everyone in the world, but for some, this challenges opens doors to new opportunities. And for some, challenges give them a great setback, and where people sometimes land up in depression. So when challenges are there for everyone, how come it opens the doors to new opportunities for some, and it gives great setbacks to some? And the beautiful line that was written there was, at the time of challenges, those who take accurate decisions, for them, the doors to new opportunities are open, and one wrong decision or a wrong choice gives you a great setback. Now, why is it that we make a right choice or a wrong choice? What is it? Which mechanism is working behind that? To make a right choice, the mind should be completely free from all the confusions, all the stresses, pressures. If the mind is kept free and a clear focus is there, you are able to see through time. And then you can take the right choice. You can make the right choice or take a right decision. And that decision just changes your life. But if I'm confused with so many negative thoughts, waste thoughts in my mind, then the probability to take a wrong decision is more. And that is when people get great setbacks. Meditation helps to clear all the confusion and makes my inner focus very clear. Just through simple understanding of the spiritual knowledge, the spiritual wisdom. And the most beautiful understanding that we have got in spirituality, which has been coming down from Gita, maybe in many people's houses also they have this Gita essence written also. Whatever has happened for good. Whatever is happening for good. And whatever is going to happen, happens for the best. This essence of Gita, जो हुआ सो अच्छा, जो हो रहा है सो अच्छा, जो होने वाला है बहुत अच्छा. Simple, but has so much of meaning in it. And if I know how to apply that in my practical life, it clears a lot of negative and base thoughts that are going on in my mind. And that is when I can just allow that positive energy to flow. Otherwise, the negative energy is going to engulf me, as well as I'll release that negative energy out into the atmosphere, and that is wherever I go with that negative energy, it will never give me inner comfort. It will never enable me to experience comfort. I'll always be uneasy because of the negative energy. So, application. And when I was thinking on this subject, it just happened that there was a message on my mobile. And as I was going through the message, And I was seeing that the message was on WhatsApp. And that clicked some things in my mind. That we have all the most expensive mobiles. Why? Because it gives access to make my life easy. Isn't it? We have so many applications. And if you know how to use those applications, it makes things so easy. At the tip of your fingers, you are able to manage so many things. But if I don't know how to use the applications, I may have the best mobile, but I'm not able to use it also. And I find that some old people in India, they get good mobiles, old people. They have this inner interest of getting a big mobile. But because they don't know how to use the applications, and because it is all touch screen, and in that touch screen they press something, and then they are so frustrated. They want to talk to somebody, and it touches their chain, and something else happens, and that's when they get frustrated. What is this? And then they say, I don't want this mobile. Just give me my simple mobile where I can at least talk to people. The same thing with spirituality as well. If I know the application, spiritual applications in my life, I can make my life so beautiful, so smooth, so easy, and constantly radiate that positive energy. Whomever I meet, wherever I go, whatever may come. But if I do not know how to use the spiritual applications, that is when it creates disturbance in my mind. It creates disturbance with the people I'm leaving. It creates disturbances through my behavior, through my action. And that is when people would start saying, I thought spirituality makes life easy, but what is this? Spirituality is not giving that enjoyment, is not able to charge me with the positive energy. And from time to time, it creates so many misunderstandings because of not applying the principles as it should have been applied. Spiritual laws are also something very unique. But if I know how to apply those laws, each and every moment in my life would be spent with smiles, would be spent in that happiness. Constantly, I would be like floating. I would be like spreading that energy around me, and that will like give comfort not to just myself, but to all those who come in connection to me as well. That is spirituality. Spirituality is something very good, but only, as I said, the applications have to be understood. Many a times we have this question, why does it happen with me only? I never did anything bad to anyone. I didn't give pain or suffering to anyone. Then why it should happen to me only? And that really, when you can't find the answer, why me? Why it has to happen with me only? Why is God sending such test papers to me only? When you don't get the answer to this question, what happens? It creates a lot of frustration. A lot of negative energy is released. Sometimes even for God. Many people's faith shakes even for God. It reminds me that there was a brother who met with an accident. and he was in the hospital. I got the message, so I thought, let us go and meet the brother. So we went to the hospital. He had both the legs fractured. There were many people because he was doing a lot of social service. So many people had come to the hospital. So naturally when we went, I just happened to say, remember God and everything will be better. When I said this, he was so upset with me. He said, don't mention the name of God in front of me, you know. It is because of God only that I have fractured my legs. And I got so surprised because it was not an atheist who was speaking this. He was a theist, he was a believer in God. And from his mouth, I'm listening to this verse, why did God not save me? But he saved your life. It is just 2 fractures that you have in your legs. But still, your life is there. These fractures will be okay within 3 months. And you'll be again walking in your normal way. But why didn't he save me? Why it had to happen with me only? When I have always did good work for everyone, I've always helped people, why didn't he help me at that time? Well, at that moment, I just couldn't answer his question. But I felt the more I would stand here, the more maybe he will be upset. So slowly and gradually I started slipping away from that room. And as I came out, his wife saw me. So she just came up to me and said, Sister, sorry if he has said anything which has really hurt your feelings. I can understand. But at this moment, try to understand his state of mind. So I said, he is such a good brother. And what has happened to his state of mind? Just an accident. And he will be okay within 3 months. His life is saved. Why is he so upset? So she said that he was a governor of the Rotary or Lions. I don't exactly remember at this moment. But he was the governor of the Rotary or the Lions. And he always used to help people. Everybody knew that. He always used to do a lot of good things. But now his tenure was coming to an end. And when the tenure of a governor comes to an end, they have a huge gathering somewhere, international gathering. And all the governors, they meet there. So he was also to go in that gathering. And where his works were going to be recognized and he was going to be awarded. And an honor was to be given to him. But now 10 days before he met with this accident, both his legs are fractured and within 10 days he's not going to get okay. So he can't go to that gathering. So every time he's thinking about that this was such a day of honor for me, for which I had worked throughout my life. And today when I'm going to get that fruit, why did God snatch away that fruit? Why didn't I get that fruit? So he was blaming God. God could have saved me. And he knew that within 10 days he's not going to get okay. And he's not able to go to that gathering to get that honor. Anyhow, we left. After about 10 days, I thought it was Thursday, so let us take Baba's bhog for him. Maybe his mental state is okay today. So we again went to the hospital. There was no one at that time. And only 1 or 2 people were there. So when we went there, was in a very happy mood. And he welcomed me, "Sister, welcome. So nice to see you today. Look, whatever God does, always does for the best." So I said, "Why?" So he took up the newspaper and showed me that the flight he was going to take, the flight crashed. Everyone died. Said, God is so great that because I did all the good works, he saved my life. Otherwise, I would have been on the same flight. The award I was not going to get anyway, but today I feel God has given me the greatest award by saving my life. Such beautiful things he was saying. In that moment, his wife said, "Sister, but I know how my 10 days went. You know, my 10 days were under such pressure because every time anyone would come and say something about God helping him, he could not accept that. And such things would come out of his mouth that it would have spoiled our relations with so many people. Every time I have to take people outside, hold my hands and ask for forgiveness. Please forgive him for whatever he said. Don't take it in your heart." She said, I never asked for so much of forgiveness for my actions. So much I had to ask for his actions. But I said, "Sister, appreciate that time has revealed the secret within 10 days. There are certain occasions in life where time reveals the secret after 1 year. After 1 year, we say the same thing. It was good that this happened to me. I was saved. I was protected. It happened to me. It was good. God was taking care of me." But at that moment, because I do not understand the time cycle, how time is beneficial, time is the best healer. Time is moving in its perfect way. When I am not able to apply this application in my life, so many negative thoughts are just generated. And if I want to share positive energy, I have to have patience, wait for the right time. Time is the best healer. There is definitely some secret in the time. If anything comes up in life, there is some or the other connection. So if I'm able to relate that and have patience, that there is something definitely good that is going to happen. Just understanding this spiritual significance of time, I'm able to generate positive energy constantly. You must be remembering that story of Akbar and Birbal. You know, there's a beautiful story. When Akbar and Birbal, they were going out in the forest hunting, and suddenly Akbar, as he was shooting, he cuts his small finger. Do you know the story? And he starts bleeding. And Birbal says at that time, whatever has happened for the best. And he gets so angry. Why? Because he was not a spiritual soul. He had no spiritual background, Akbar. So he was not able to understand the significance of these words which were uttered by Birbal. So when I understand the spiritual significance and I am able to apply it, every time you find life becomes so smooth. Just have patience and you will see everything being healed with the time, and beautiful experiences will get. We'll be able to share the positive energy every time. This is the right choice that we have to make. Another thing, to share positive energy, to have a positive state of mind. And how can I have a positive state of mind? Because we are living in a world which is full of negativities. Being in this negative world, surrounded by the negative energy, how can I make a difference? How can I make a difference? Many a times people say this, okay, if I be positive, but everyone around me is full of negativities. They are releasing the negative energy. They empower me. How can I make a difference? By generating positive energy. One person can make a great difference by releasing the positive energy. All the great souls of the world, whether it is Swami Vivekananda, whether it is Mother Teresa, whether it is Mahatma Buddha, whether it is Brahma Baba or Prakashmani Dadi, Janki Dadi, all these great souls, they are in this world. What is the unique thing in them? What is the unique thing? The unique thing which makes them great, which makes them a mentor, which makes them ideal for so many souls, which makes them source of inspiration for so many, is their positive energy. They constantly radiate that positive energy on the basis of their regular meditation. Many times people say, but how can we meditate? Meditation is not that simple. Meditation is simple, but in order to meditate accurately, I need to have the spiritual inputs. Very rightly in Gita it is mentioned, Gyan ke bina dhyan nahi. Without knowledge, there is no meditation. Gyan se hi dhyan. It is only through knowledge. So knowledge is like the oil which keeps the lamp burning. If there is no knowledge, and people say, how can I find time? Time is the most important factor. In order to, because I need to nourish my mind every day. Then only I can meditate. I can generate spiritual vibrations or positive energy. If I don't nourish myself, just as the body, to keep the body in a healthy state, in today's world, everyone is so health conscious. To keep the body healthy, what do we need? 3 things. Proper nourishment, rest, and exercise. If the 3 things are there, the body is healthy. In order to generate positive energy, share positive energy, I need to keep my mind also in a very healthy state. So how can I keep the mind in a healthy state? For that, also 3 things are required. Proper nourishment, relaxation, and exercise. Proper nourishment is the spiritual inputs that I give to the mind. Today, in today's world, it is very difficult for people to find time, so they are malnourished, not properly nourished, no good thoughts. We get up early in the morning, and how do we start the day? Newspaper, news. What is happening today? So with the news, all negative inputs, and that is how we start the day. We go out to work, meet friends, meet our colleagues. Has anybody got something beautiful to share? Has anybody got something beautiful to share? Everybody has their own problems, and what they share is, today this problem came up, today this happened, so much of stress, so much of pressure is going on, and I don't know how to cope up with all these pressures and this and that. Everybody is sharing about pressures, stresses, problems, situations that are coming up. Nobody has something beautiful to share. And then in the evening, we switch on the television, and what is on the television? Huh? Cereals. And what is there in the cereals?
Boy falls for one.
Huh?
Boy falls for one girl, the other one dies,
No positive, nothing good. Nothing good. Huh?
all mother-in-laws are bad.
All mother-in-laws are bad, yeah.
All fathers are bad. Everybody is bad.
Yeah, everybody is bad. And in the television serials, we don't get time to see, but whatever some people like you share with us, they said nowadays in India, all the serials, I don't know whether you get those serials here or not, but all the serials, how to play politics in home. Yeah. How to play politics in your home, how to take revenge, how to make people victim of jealousy, all that. Isn't it?
Everybody is conspiring about somebody.
Yes. Conspiracy. In serials. In family life, that is all shown. So we begin our day with negative inputs. During the day it is all negative. And in the evening we end the day with all the negative inputs. So, what the input is, the process is, the output is. If the input is negative, the process is going to be negative, the output is going to be negative. So how can we generate positive energy? In order to generate positive energy, share positive energy, I need to nourish myself with positive inputs. Definitely, Brahma Kumaris nowadays, on everybody's mobile, they send a beautiful thought for the day, message for the day. How many people are able to read, contemplate on it, and digest and apply that for a particular situation? How many are able to do that? Hardly we have time to read just, okay, what is the message for the day? What is the thought for the day? We just slide our eyes and finish. During the whole day, we hardly contemplate on it. We don't even remember. So no good nourishment for the mind. And whenever we say people, come for meditation class, what do they say? No time. No time. And I was wondering, where does the time go? Where does the time go? And beautifully, I was reading a story There was a young man who was looking for a job. So he went to many places looking for the job. And everywhere people said, no, there is no vacancy. Finally, somebody told him, why don't you go to that brother? He may have some work for you. So he goes up to that person who was a timber merchant. So he goes to him, can I get some work here? So that timber merchant asked him, what will you do? He said, I can do anything. Young, strong, I can do anything. So he said, there is some wood to be cut. Will you do that for me? He said, okay, no problem. So he takes him backyard and there is a huge pile of wood. This needs to be cut. Okay. And he starts cutting the wood. By the end of the day, the person thought, let me go and see what this young man has done. So he takes around and he sees that he has cut 25 pieces of wood. So he says, well, good efficiency. I think you are a good person. So I'll hire you. So he hires him. Every day morning, come at 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the evening. You have to cut wood. And he comes every day. 10 days pass. So the merchant thought, let me go and see what this young man is doing. So in the evening he takes around and he finds that in the whole day he cut only 15 pieces of wood. So he asked him, what happened? The first day you were able to cut 25 pieces of wood. Today you cut only 15 pieces. Why is your efficiency coming down? So this young man says, I don't understand. I put all my effort. I'm not even lazy. You can ask anyone. I don't waste my time. But I don't know why I'm not able to cut as much as wood as I cut the first day. So the merchant says, well, look, you have to put in more effort from tomorrow. Says, okay, from tomorrow I'll put more effort. Another 10 days pass, and after 10 days again, when the merchant feels, let me go and see what he's doing. So again by evening, he takes around and he sees that the whole day he has cut only 10 pieces of wood. And what has happened to you? The first day you cut 25 pieces of wood. Today you have come up to 10 pieces only. Why is your efficiency coming down? The young man says, I don't understand. I'm not lazy. I work the whole day. You can ask anyone. I put so much of effort, but I don't know why I'm not able to cut so many pieces of wood as I did on the first day. So the merchant was very experienced one. So he says, let me ask you one question. In these 20 days, how many times did you sharpen your axe? So the young man says, the whole day I'm cutting the wood. When did I get the time to sharpen the axe? No time. The whole day I'm cutting the wood. When should I sharpen the axe? So the merchant said, well, the first thing you come in the morning is to sharpen your axe. Then with less efforts, you are going to bring out more output. Otherwise, you're putting more effort and your output is less. But this thing was not understood by him. The same thing. We find people are getting stressed. Efficiency is coming down. No peace, no happiness, no positive energy, drained completely, frustration increasing. But if we ask to sharpen the axe, no time. No time. Even if God gives us 26 hours maybe, 2 hours more, we don't know where those 2 hours are going to go, and still we won't have time. Isn't it? So he says, the first thing in the morning you get up, sharpen your axe. Nourish your mind with some healthy thoughts, spiritual thoughts. And that will increase your efficiency. Not just increase your efficiency, but it will create a positive state of mind. And once the mind is positioned in a positive direction, the whole day you will be constantly releasing positive energy, sharing positivity with everyone. But if you are not nourished the mind, what happens? The efficiency will come down, stress is increasing, frustration increasing, no happiness, happiness is low, relationships are having problems, everything. If I just nourish myself, sharpen the axe with spirituality, meditation, then you find everything, life changes, because your mind is positioned in a positive direction. And when the mind is positioned in a positive direction, things start changing. This is what we need at this time, to change the positioning of the mind. We all know the example. Half glass of water, some see half full, some see half empty. We mentioned also the awareness is there, but application is not there. That's why I said we have the best mobiles. If you know the applications, it will make life so easy. Sitting in one place, you can manage so many things around the world. But if you don't know the applications, you have to run around each and every place, spend time and energy and everything. Similarly, I need to use those applications in my life. Spiritual applications. And to use those spiritual applications, I have to understand them. And I can only understand when I regularly nourish my mind. I know when to apply which application. It makes my life so easy and simple, smooth. Constantly generating that positive energy. Second, relaxation. Meditation means consciously relaxing the mind. So nourishment and then relaxing. So meditation means consciously relaxing the mind for a few moments also. If I know how to relax my mind, it becomes easy for me to recharge my battery. And when the battery is recharged, no matter what situations may come, whatever challenges may come, but with my positive state of mind, I can overcome everything. Mind is so powerful. But I have to check the positioning. It should not be in a negative positioning. The moment I change that, and if I know how to change, it benefits me in a great way. So consciously relaxing the mind clears off the turmoils, clears off all the confusions, and gives me a clear focus, which helps me to sort out so many things very easily, without any stress. And the third thing is exercise. Exercise for the mind. What is the exercise? Which is the exercise? Applications? Which is the exercise? Journey of the knowledge. Which is the exercise?
Spreading the spirituality.
Spreading the spirituality. Exercise is positive thinking exercises. Positive thinking exercises. Positive thinking is not that easy. It's not that easy. Awareness is there. Even small children at home, when they see their parents upset, they would also say, be positive, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. It's so easy to say. But when they themselves are in a problem, and if their parents tell them or if their friends tell them, you are giving us good pieces of advices, be positive. Now what has happened to you? And what do we say? My case is different than yours, you know. In your case, I would still say you were thinking negative, and my case is totally different. I'm trying to be practical, you know. Nobody admits that, yes, I also do not know how to think positive, so I'm also thinking negative. Nobody would admit. We always find an excuse. I'm trying to be practical. Your case was different, and my case is different. Truly speaking, today, in today's world, people do not know how to think positive and apply that positive thinking at those times of challenges. At those times. Afterwards, we realize, if I would have thought in this manner, if I would have behaved in this manner, maybe I would have made things more simpler, easier, smoother. But at that moment I became so reactive, I was not able to control myself. And why I was not able to control myself? No energy. No energy. And where did the energy go? The energy just drained because of negative thoughts. It is only if I accumulate positive energy, then I'm able to think positive at the right time. So for that, positive thinking exercises have to be given from time to time. So if I've nourished my mind with some healthy thoughts, spiritual thoughts, then during the day, whenever I'm just by myself, I start thinking positive on the basis of those lines, those inputs. Then you find it becomes easier. A person who has never done exercise, and one fine day he has a heart attack, and he goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, look, if you want to live regularly, morning and evening, you have to do brisk walking. Morning half an hour, evening half an hour. And if that person says to the doctor, look doctor, all my work starts from the early morning hours. Morning it is very difficult to find half an hour to go for a brisk walking. And evening also, if I get time, I'll go for a brisk walking. What will the doctor say? What will the doctor say? Better to die. If you cannot find time for yourself, nobody can help you. If he wants to live, will he find time? Half an hour in the morning? No work is left out. People may call for a few days, then when they come to know from this time to this time he won't be available, he must have gone for his exercises, so call before or call after. Nothing is missed out. No work is left out. We just have to understand, do a little bit of rescheduling in our daily routine. The first day when he does exercise, brisk walking also maybe, he may have some cramps because he's not used to. But he won't leave that brisk walking saying that I'm having cramps in my legs. What can I do? I don't want to go out for walking. For a few days he'll have those cramps. If you do a little bit of massage and everything, it will be okay. But constantly he'll go for the exercise. And once he gets used to that exercise, then if he doesn't go, he will have cramps. Isn't it? The same thing. Initially, you might find it a little bit difficult for positive thinking exercises also because you have never done. But once you get into the habit of thinking positive, When you nourish your mind with some good healthy thoughts, spiritual thoughts, and during the day you contemplate on it, think positive. Just recollect those thoughts initially. This is the best exercise. Or do some meditation commentaries, and with the commentary try to take your mind on the journey. Just get into the habit. Once you get into the habit, then you'll get used to positive thinking so naturally. And once you get into that habit, life will change. Your perception towards life starts changing. Everything would seem so beautiful. Now anything happens, any situation comes up, the first thing, a negative thought emerges. But when you are habituated into it, and it's not an overnight process, that at the time of situation, when situation comes in my life, then I will start thinking about meditation or spirituality, or then I will start thinking positive. It's going to be impossible. It's not that easy. I need to train my mind, just as physically limbs also have to train my limbs to get into exercise. Similarly, I need to train my mind to get into the positive thinking exercises also. And once I'm able to do that, then it becomes so easy. Anything comes up, instead of getting panic, instead of getting afraid, fear, it's easy, stressed. It will be easy for you to handle yourself in that situation. And still you will be constantly radiating positive energy. You won't be drained. More positive thinking exercises, the more strength you build up. Just as physically also, the more exercise you do, you're building up strength. Similarly, positive thinking exercises give you the strength, the willpower to face any big storms in life. And still at the same time, you can share positive. Many times you have seen people, they face such great storms in life, but you see them smiling. And you ask them, and many times people tell them also, if I would have been in your place, I would have been totally broken up. How can you manage? How are you able to handle yourself? And that's the wonderful part in their life. They handle themselves, they handle situations. Meditation does not mean you will not get situations. Meditation does not mean that you won't have storms in your life. There will be situations, storms, problems, everything. But meditation gives us the strength to handle ourselves in a better way, and at the same time constantly radiating the positive energy and charging the self. Every moment we are charging the self. The more you release the energy, the more you charge yourself. That is why it is said, the universal law of nature is what you give, you get. The more you give, the more you share, the more you are charging yourself with that energy. But in today's world, we have become very miser in sharing positive energy, because that is where people feel I'm totally hollow inside, empty. This hollowness, this emptiness, how can I feel that? And in order to fill that emptiness, it is only spirituality that can help us. When a person, many a times they go to psychiatrist whenever they have any problem, what do that psychiatrist advise them in the first hand? Learn some sort of meditation. He won't immediately put you onto tranquilizers. The first thing he would say is, learn some sort of meditation. Try to relax yourself and heal thyself from within. Heal thyself from within. This is what meditation does. So 3 things to keep yourself healthy: positive thinking exercises, spiritual nourishment, and through meditation, consciously relax the mind. When the three things are given regularly, the mind will be in a very healthy state, constantly radiating. That's the simple technique. Now the first thing is, if we understand the importance of it, we must find some time for our own self. And will you be able to find time? Will you be able to find time? Yes? If it helps us in so many ways, prepares us for future, where I don't have to break up inside. It gives me that strong willpower from within, then definitely we must find some time for our own self. Okay? Any questions you have? Any questions? Anyone?
Say something good will come out of anything. I still can't understand how, when you lose somebody, how the good is coming out of it. I still haven't understood that. When you lose somebody dearer to you, I haven't understood.
This situation comes in everybody's life. Everybody is dear and near to some or the other. But whenever time comes, they have to go. And when it goes, they leave some valuable memories for us. Not just memories, but you take something from their life, adopt it in your life as an inspiration. Or maybe they give a turning point in your life. Turn you towards spirituality. Before you were attached so much, you had no time to go for spirituality. But when you lose them, in order to handle yourself, there is a mole in your life and you turn towards spirituality. So they have turned you towards that spiritual path. So that's the benefit. If we contemplate, we find there are many benefits, not just one benefit. When that near and dear one who has passed away has given us some valuable lessons in our life, has taught us something very great, and you can never forget that. That is something beautiful that you have learned. To face that situation sometimes, the strength, you got it from there. So that was the best part. There are so many things that you learn from their going away. Later you realize, maybe. And that what you have learned, those lessons are something very good that helps you at every point of your life. So if we contemplate, there is something really we benefit.
But you can't learn otherwise, those things?
No, you won't be able, because you are so much attached, you have no time to contemplate. Very difficult, but this is where the spirituality gives you the inner strength. Inner strength. And that's why I said, regularly you should nourish your mind. If it is not regularly nourished, if the body is also not regularly nourished 3 times, okay, if we fast and do this, at least once you nourish, the soul also, once in a day we have to nourish with good thoughts. That helps us every time. It makes us stronger and stronger because knowledge is power. It generates the power within and helps us in the most difficult times also. It changes or gives me a new understanding to see into that problem, to see into that event, whatever has happened. So for that, the strength is needed. And it is only spirituality that can give me that strength. Without it, I cannot help myself. Any other questions? Yes?
In our situation, it's easy to understand and make the positivity. But in some cases, for anybody else, when you are just an advisor or as a listener there, just in case of betrayal or cheating, how can we say that person, okay, jo hua, acha hua? It's very difficult if you are a listener, he or she is just hearing something happened bad. Then how can we say that, okay, jo hua, acha hua? Just like your case, you put the example.
What happens is that wherever there is betrayal or cheating or anything, there also you are saved from the future losses. Maybe it has hurt you at this time, but in this early stage, coming to know about that person, you can handle yourself. But in the later ages of your life, it may be very difficult. So it was good that you came to know very early. Maybe later stages, you would be left alone. No one would be by your side also. Still at this time, you can make up your life. You can handle yourself and move forward. But in that time, when you are also, over a period of time, you get into some sort of habits or whatever be a way of life, from there to change yourself, it will be very difficult. So that was the best part. Before that, you got to know now. It was good. The earlier you came to know, you are able to handle yourself. Otherwise, later it will be very difficult. So that's the good part. That was a blessing in disguise. Because nothing in life, whatever happens in life, nothing is a coincidence. Everything that happens has a definite reason behind it. Maybe I'm not able to understand that reason at this point of time. In the future times, I may come to understand. And then I thank God. It was good that I came to know in the early stage. Normally people thank afterwards only. And it comes out, it was good that this happened earlier, or it was good that it happened at that age, not at this age. It would have been very difficult for me to handle myself. People normally say that, isn't it? You hear them. Anything else? Okay, so can we have meditation for a few moments? Okay? I'll be giving you thoughts, some positive thoughts. Don't just repeat those words. Try to go into those feelings. Feel those vibrations. Feel that energy. So for a few moments,
Om Shanti.
Into commentary? Okay. So for a few moments, let us turn our attention away from the external world and focus within. With your mind's eye, visualize yourself as a point of light. In the center of the forehead. This body is just like a costume that I've put on to play my role in this beautiful world. I am the master of the sense organs. Slowly and gradually, I realize that I am a pure being, constantly radiating pure vibrations. My original nature is peaceful. I can feel the vibrations of peace around me. My thoughts are calming down. And there is such a beautiful, pleasant feeling within me. I feel completely relaxed. I can feel the power of peace within me. It gives me true happiness, being peaceful. It comforts my heart. As I radiate happiness around me, I feel the world is changing. Slowly and gradually, I take my mind on a journey. Being in company of my Supreme Father. And with my mind's eye, I visualize myself in front of my Supreme Father. Just as I am a divine light, my Supreme Father is also divine light, radiating positive energy. And as I see myself under the canopy of rays of all powers, I empower myself, recharge my battery. For a few moments, let me stabilize my consciousness. Being in the company of the Supreme Father. Who's the comforter of hearts. I feel so fortunate being worthy to experience God's love. and His showers of blessings on me. Slowly and gradually, I turn my attention back to the physical world and the physical body. And now, I allow the vibrations to flow through my sense organs in my relationships, my behavior, my actions. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Enjoy your silence. Just a couple of announcements. We are going to start a new course on the Hong Kong side on Monday morning at 11 o'clock. It will be either in English or Hindi, so you're most welcome to join. Every Saturday evening and every Sunday evening, we have our meditation from 6 to 7:30. Doors are open to anyone, even if you haven't meditated before. And now I'd like to invite Bindu Ben to make more announcements.
Monday.
Only Monday?
On Monday. Skyphone Hall, South.
I think you better tell the name of the hall.
I think Bindu's a bit cold, right? So there's still a lot happening. Sunday, Sister Usha will be talking at our center, a Murli class, and then something else interesting to follow. It starts at 7 in the morning, but I'm sure you all would have woken up much before that. Please come to the center on Sunday morning, and then Monday evening, we have a very lovely public program at Kai Fong Auditorium, which is TST Kowloon. I'm sure it's famous, everybody knows, otherwise you Google and you'll know exactly where it is. And what she's going to do is something very interesting. Talk on Satyanarayan Ki Katha. Why do we do it? What are the significances of it? How we do it and how we should do it better. So please come and tell your friends and be with us. Thank you. Toli and blessings are here. Please don't go without them. Thank you.
That was for Usha. Big hand of applause.